The weather's absolutely awful today. It's been pretty strong winds and heavy rain overnight, and there's been a few trees down and branches down. So it's a perfect time to have a little look at some poor weather. We're not just going to be talking about wind and rain in this episode. Let's crack 'em. These are often the worst type of rain showers, the heavy sudden ones. It sometimes takes motorists a number of moments to get used to these conditions. Looking through the rain and beyond is a much different skill than having a clear window. Obviously take things a little slower until you get used to what speed will be suitable. When it starts to get really bad, you can often see it coming, up ahead or from behind. And this is a great example of showing, in between the wipes of the windscreen wipers, there's less vision. The pedestrian on the left has prepped the conditions, they've got a brolly. But don't expect everyone to be the same. Like this next guy on the left, running. And people will often do this in between parked vehicles. And don't forget to add into the equation stopping distances as well as poor vision. Although Smiler Bob's got no one oncoming when he decides to go, judgment of crossing the path or even emerging is also much more difficult. Take more care. This is a great example of problems with standing water.
That was clever, wasn't it?
Notice that effect of lack of vision in between the wipes on the wipers. It's pretty scary sometimes because you literally have no control over vision. If possible, get the wipers going faster before you get there. Then after the rain comes the floods. The reason why I've blurred the plate of this Jaguar is because it's going to feature in today's car vertical integration. Place your bets now. Do you think this vehicle was written off? If we go straight away to the damage report, as you can see, no damage or assessment records have been found. This wasn't reported to the insurance and it wasn't written off. Remember, checking a car out through Car Vertical isn't just to find the bad ones. It's also to give you a little bit of confidence to make that potential purchase. And this Jaguar XF looks like it's a good one. If we look at the Car Vertical score, which is a recent addition to these reports, 84 is a brilliant score for a 14-year-old car. These scores take all the information into account. Let's have a look at a few other things which may have given it this positive result. The mileage graph shows a nice steady increase throughout its life. It's never been stolen. There's no financial restrictions for this vehicle. The timeline shows a lovely record of the car's MOTs, and it's all around November time. There's only actually one that it's ever failed in 2021, and this report shows you the details of that as well. And if we look up to current date, it's even had one in November of this year, and of course it was successful. Most cars do have a hidden history, but a Car Vertical report highlights these. And remember, it's not just to point out the bad cars, it can give you confidence in actually going ahead with this purchase. Remember, use the code Ashley or the links in the description and you can save yourself 20%. Thanks, Car Vertical. I have done a whole video on driving through floods when I visited Rufford Ford a few years back. I'll leave links in the description. When conditions are bad, be aware of the people who are going to occupy your safety spaces. I bet you weren't expecting that, or this left turn. Disgraceful driving. This would have been terrible in perfect conditions, let alone weather like this. Remember, if it happens to you, just let it go and get on with your day. There were a few clues that there was a problem up ahead. Brake lights for starters. The car in lane 1 does a much better job of anticipating this compared to the vehicle in front of my viewer. But that was quite a severe aquaplane. My viewer was very lucky. Their heart must have been racing because they slowed down and moved back to the left. But just try and do this before you have that scary moment next time. Another clip where my viewer has a scary moment. I'm sure you've noticed that speed has a big part to play when people lose a little bit of control, or a fair bit of control. Wind is also a big problem, and we have to be careful and look after vulnerable road users. But let's have a look at a couple of unusual incidents. This one was quite difficult to spot. There's a branch down and the oncoming car sees it late. Would you have anticipated this? That would have left a fair dent in the side of your car and your bank balance for the following year's insurance. Hopefully there's a few who remember this clip when they're faced with a similar situation. The only simple advice that I can give you in any of these conditions that we're going to look at in this video is if you don't have to drive, don't drive. But remember what we were just saying about speed. If your speed is low, it gives you a better chance of dealing with most things. Look how many incidents my viewer has to deal with along this stretch. Then the rain starts to fall, quite heavily also. And then the person behind does this. How can you even think of overtaking in a situation like this? But they obviously did. Fog obviously also needs a mention, and this clip shows just how important fog lights actually are to see the vehicle in front. But remember, not everyone's going to have them on, so you can't be going this fast.
Parliament's right, their right as parliamentarians and for their constituents to scrutinise the executive and defend their own rights. If Parliament isn't...
Watch how quickly the normal lights disappear.
Who will? And I thought it was a pathetic display.
Well, I mean, the thing that interests me as well about what Starmer said.
Always be able to stop in a distance that you can see it to be clear. Again, it was a good job that my viewer was going slow enough. So as we make a start on the clips involving ice, I'd like to state this. Please clear the whole of your car before you start to drive. Oops. Someone else who didn't clear the car properly, and this time there's nearly a collision. The open door definitely made that driver to the left think that the blue Skoda driver was waiting. So it's been evidenced on how little the driver can see. Look at them carrying on through these narrow spaces. What if a kid just walked out? Absolutely disgraceful driving. There are also people that think when it's been snowing they can't stop for any situation. It's far too dangerous to brake. And even when you think you're slow enough, these conditions can easily catch you out. My viewer's nowhere near slow enough to deal with this corner. Our last two clips show overtakes that in normal conditions would be perfectly fine, but obviously the ice and snow make things really different. It's the cyclist up ahead that everyone's starting to overtake, and you can see by the car in front they've had to move through the centre of the road where the snow is still accumulated. Keeping as straight as possible is the optimal thing to do here, but if you are going to overtake, that's not going to happen, and combine that with a different road surface and you've potentially got problems. If I was going to do this, I would also use the opposite carriageway, and I would have also done it with a bigger gap with the oncoming traffic so I didn't have to rush as much. That was quite risky in my opinion, but the next clip's really bad. All of your own making, unfortunately. My final little thoughts are these. Remember what we've said during this video, impatience can lead to a little bit higher speed and causes problems in poor weather conditions. But the poor weather conditions can lead to congestion, as we can see here, which in turn can go back to impatience again. So please just set yourself the mindset that you're probably going to be late. And if you really need to be at a particular place at a particular time, leave yourself plenty of time for that journey. I'd like to say a massive thanks to everyone who sends in these brilliant clips. There's been a few of these that have been plucked from a few years back as well. So remember, if you don't see your clips straight away, be patient as well. Keep safe everyone. I'll see you soon.